So we're going to talk really quick about Amazon sales rank. Again, I'm going to dedicate a whole video to sales rank. So if you have a lot of questions about it, which I'm sure you do because a lot of people do, I'd be happy to answer those questions here. I'm just going to touch on it briefly. I think Amazon sales rank is a really neat help for us online sellers. It helps us understand the popularity of products, in our case, books. And so what Amazon does on their product page, if you scroll down to the details section, they'll tell you where that particular product ranks in its category. So like I said in the previous comment, there's over 36 million book listings. And so out of 36 million, it'll tell you the rank. So if it's a rank of 1, that's the best-selling book on Amazon. Rank at 10,000, 100,000, whatever. So the great thing about that is that you can pull up a book and you can kind of get a general idea of whether or not that book has sold any copies. And the last thing you want to do is buy a book that is not going to sell anything, even though you're going to be able to acquire some of these books for cheap or free. There's still the opportunity cost. There's still the cost involved in preparing that book and sending it off to Amazon, and then maybe having to bring it back later if it doesn't sell. So you want to avoid any of those unnecessary expenses. So one way you can do that is have some of your criteria based on the Amazon sales rank. And so there's lots of technology out there that's going to help you figure out what the sales rank of the book is. You don't have to do this blind. You don't have to bring the books home and look on the computer. There's smartphone technology, so apps for your smartphone. You can download Amazon's databases, product databases onto a PDA with a barcode scanner attached to it. Those are the systems we use. So you're scanning books like extremely fast, and you're able to quickly see what the sales rank is on those. And those are a couple options, and they're going to really help you make informed purchasing decisions. But I think Amazon sales rank also leads a lot of people astray, because Amazon sales rank is a lagging indicator, which means that the sales rank isn't showing you the future of sales for that particular item. It's showing you past sales only. So it's an indication of how that book is sold in comparison to all the other books in the book category over the past month or two, essentially. And so let's say there's a really poor ranked book, like up in the tens of millions, and maybe a book club comes in and swoops up 6 or 7 copies in just a few days. Well, that 10 plus million ranked book is gonna crash. It's gonna drop all the way down to probably in the 10,000 book range, maybe 100,000 book range. And so if you're scanning that book, if you're looking up that book's rank on Amazon and you see 100,000, you're gonna say, well, that's a really good book. That book's moving a lot of copies per day. I'm gonna buy it. But the problem is that could just be an indication of sales that happened over the last month. There's no guarantee of future sales. So there are people that they put too much emphasis on Amazon's sales rank, and in turn they're buying books that they're getting excited about books that may or may not sell ever. So it's important to keep that in mind. Again, we'll talk about Amazon sales rank in another video. I know it's definitely a very confusing issue, but I think once we kind of break it down a little bit, you'll understand it's not as overwhelming of a topic. You'll be able to wrap your mind around it, and then use Amazon sales rank in a healthy way. And that brings us to the topic FBA versus MF. So we already talked about FBA, or fulfillment by Amazon, or MF, or merchant fulfilled, earlier in the video in the intro. But I just want to go over it a little bit more here. I'm obviously a major fan, a big proponent of FBA. I really feel like it puts us third-party sellers in just an excellent position, gives us just a huge advantage over our competition. But there's really pros and cons. I mean, our business model kind of revolves around fulfillment by Amazon. We sell our books 100% through FBA. There are other sellers out there that have excellent business models, and they make fantastic profits, and they merchant fulfill all their books. And then there's some in between. They do part FBA, part merchant fulfilled. So you really got to figure out what your business model is, and figure out which type of fulfillment will work best for you. One or the other, or a combination thereof. So we're just going to kind of go over some of the pros and cons real briefly here. Just kind of let you know what some of the pros of FBA are and some of the cons, and also for merchant fulfilled. So when an item is FBA, or fulfilled by Amazon, this is how it works. You would collect all your books or your items. You'd list them on Amazon.com as if they're going to be active for sale, but instead of actually activating them so customers can purchase them, you select the Fulfilled by Amazon option, and then what they're going to prompt you to do is print out some labels to put over the barcodes. Then you're going to pack them in bulk in boxes and ship them off to an Amazon fulfillment center using Amazon's partnered shipping rates. And then when that box of books gets to the Amazon warehouse, it'll be unpacked. Amazon employees will shelve it in their shelving system. It's very much like a hardcore library. I don't know if you've seen any pictures of the fulfillment center before. It's pretty impressive. If you Google FBA warehouse or fulfillment center and you type books in there, you'll see just like massive rows of books, like just shelves, like just as far as the eye can see. It's pretty impressive. And then once it's shelved, it becomes available for sale on Amazon.com, and your listing is going to show up on the Amazon listing page. So if somebody's searching for a book that you happen to be selling, they're going to see it there. And then next to your offer is going to be the Prime eligible little logo, letting customers know that if they order from you and they're a Prime member, they're going to get free 2-day shipping. Or even if they're not a Prime member, if they spend $35 or more, they're going to get free 2-day shipping, and it's going to come from an Amazon warehouse. And so that right there, that kind of separates you from the competition, I feel, in a big way. Customers are going to select your option. If they choose your option and they purchase it, Amazon will remove your book from the listing. An Amazon employee will take your book off the shelf, put it in a box with a packing slip, and ship it out to the customer. When it gets delivered to the customer, then you get notified that you've made a sale and tell you how much you made that sale for, and then they'll credit that to your account. And then depending on how your account's set up, you will be reimbursed for that within 2 weeks, usually, depending on how often your disbursements go through. But that's kind of how it works. If the customer is not satisfied with the book or doesn't get there in time, regardless, if they want a refund, Amazon handles that. When they're asking for refunds or they're asking questions about the order or whatever, it goes directly to Amazon. So you don't have to deal with that. Conversely, if you're doing merchant fulfilled, you handle all that. So if the customer says, "I haven't got my package yet," or "When's it going to get here?" they're gonna be asking questions directly to you. But when it's FBA, it's almost like they're Amazon's customer. Amazon takes care of them. If they want to return it, Amazon handles all that too, sends them the label they need to print out to send it back to the fulfillment center. When it gets back, they inspect the book, and if they deem that it's in resellable condition, then they will put it back on the shelf and make it active for sale again. If not, then it goes into a defective status. Then you have the option of removing that inventory at about, I think at the time of this video, it's about 50 cents a piece, maybe a little less for books, or you can have them destroy it. So they'll just destroy it, which either means they actually destroy it or they just sell it themselves, depending on what kind of product it is, what kind of book it is. So that's the process. And so it's pretty much the reason why I like FBA is because it allows you to completely step away from that part of your business. It allows you to focus more time and energy on building your business system and automating and outsourcing, focusing on sourcing and listing and just getting all those things super efficient, super time effective. And then it lets Amazon handle the fulfillment related issues. It lets Amazon handle pick, packing, and shipping. And when you think about it, yesterday we sold about 50 books. And if each book took us maybe 3 or 4 minutes to get off the shelf and print out a label and box it up and put a label on it, I mean, collectively, if you take, let's say, 4 minutes times 50 books, that's a lot of minutes per day to be doing logistics. This way, we ship them in bulk. Amazon handles that. We can allocate that time to other areas of the business, which means that we can scale and grow faster than we could if we fulfilled every single order. Now, the downfall to FBA is that you lose some control. I mean, all your inventory is being shipped out to a fulfillment center, who knows where, right? And maybe it's not being handled properly. Sometimes we get books in the mail that we order, and they're not packaged very well, and that kind of leaves a sour taste in our mouth because we know this book probably was new when they pulled off the shelf, but by the time it gets to us, it's been bent up and dinged up. So you lose some of that control of the inventory, that control over the customer service process. Although Amazon's customer service is pretty highly touted, there are some bad customer service reps, like within any company. And so a customer that could have normally been very happy with the purchase from you and working with you directly may not be happy if they get poor customer service from Amazon. And then merchant fulfilled, obviously the fees are a little less too, and we'll talk about that in different future videos. And it's also, you can also find more information about that in the book Flipping Book that comes along with this course. Fees are cheaper, which means that you might be making a little bit more money per title. Also, there's a variety of other reasons. Some of the pros for merchant fulfilled are if your business model, if you're able to acquire books for cheap or free, and maybe these books aren't worth sending in an FBA, like you can't sell them for $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9 or more, you might want to merchant fulfill them. And then not only are you going to get higher value for them because the fees aren't as big for a merchant fulfilled item as they are for an FBA item, you're also going to get some of the shipping credit back as well. So Amazon requires customers to pay $3.99. It's a flat shipping rate for media, for books, and typically it costs about half of that to send that book off to your customer in the end. So you're able to keep half of that too. So maybe you're making a couple dollars on the sale of the book, and then you're also making a couple dollars off the shipping credit, which gives you a decent amount of profit for books that would otherwise be destined to the thrift store to be donated or whatever. Important to consider both FBA and merchant fulfilled. I mean, I know a guy, so Greg Murphy, he does a mixture of both. I mean, he's dealing in volume, so he gets Gaylords and truckloads of books every day. He goes through them very efficiently, picks out the ones that are worth sending into Amazon FBA, picks the ones that are worth merchant fulfilling, picks out some books that are worth selling on site because he actually has a book sale every weekend at his warehouse. And then there's even another pile that has books that are just not worth anything and need to be thrown away or sent out to the recyclers. So he does a combination. There's some other people that do only merchant fulfilled. I know some people that they sell antiquarian, very, first edition type books. They deal like in the vintage antique type books, and they don't really want to send their high dollar books off to Amazon's warehouse, and so they'll keep them at home. They'll sell them. Obviously, their average sale price is much higher than ours, and there's definitely a reason to do that. I think there's reasons to merchant fulfill. There's legitimate reasons to merchant fulfill. There's also very legitimate reasons to FBA. You just got to figure out what your business model is and what type of fulfillment would suit your business best.